On a rainy Tuesday morning in Atlanta, Camille Johnson walked into her third chemotherapy session, holding on to hope and the hand of the man she believed would never leave her side, her husband, Marcus. Camille was 39, a school teacher, fierce, loving, and recently diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. Marcus was her rock, or so she thought. As her body weakened, her heart held on to one thing, the belief that Marcus would hold the house together, protect what they built, and keep her safe. But inside that house, something else had started growing. Not trust, not loyalty, a secret, a shameful, irreversible secret. Camille's sister had passed away in a car accident 2 years earlier, leaving behind a teenage daughter. Layla. She was only 18 when Camille took her in. Marcus agreed without hesitation. Family takes care of family, he'd said. They gave Layla her own room, paid for her community college classes, and even bought her a used car. Camille treated her like a daughter, like blood. But while Camille lay in a hospital bed, throwing up into paper bags and losing patches of her hair, Marcus and Layla were building something behind her back. It started small. Lingering hugs, late-night movies. Helping with homework. Camille never suspected a thing. Why would she? Layla started dressing differently. Tighter shirts, more makeup. But Camille blamed it on youth. What she didn't know was that her husband had started sleeping in Layla's room. At first, he justified it in his own mind. I'm lonely. I'm broken too. Then he stopped justifying it. And Layla? She wasn't stupid. She knew what she was doing. She wasn't in love. She was in control. The breaking point came 5 months later. Camille had just finished her final round of chemo. She was exhausted but hopeful. The doctors told her the tumor had shrunk significantly. It felt like a second chance. She came home early one day, flowers in hand, ready to surprise Marcus with the good news. Instead, she was the one surprised. She opened the door to find Layla standing in the kitchen, holding a pregnancy test. Camille laughed at first. Don't tell me you're pregnant, she joked. Layla didn't laugh. Marcus stepped into the room, shirtless, silent. The air turned cold. Camille's smile fell. Her eyes darted between them, her mind trying to make sense of the pieces that already made sense. Layla looked her dead in the eye. I'm 7 weeks. Camille froze. Her hands trembled. The flowers dropped to the floor. 7 weeks. She'd still been in chemo, still been fighting for her life. And her husband was creating a new one. The neighbors said they heard screaming. Some said they heard glass breaking. Some said nothing. But what everyone agrees on is that Camille walked out barefoot, shaking, and didn't return for weeks. She checked herself into a recovery lodge out of town, alone. Marcus tried to reach her. Layla posted pictures of her growing belly online. They didn't even bother hiding anymore. Camille's name was never mentioned again until she returned. It had been nearly 9 months since she left. In that time, Marcus and Layla had settled into their new reality. The baby was due any week now. They posted cute photos online, smiling in matching pajamas, cooking together, prepping the nursery in what used to be Camille's office. To the outside world, it looked like they were building a family. To Camille, it looked like they were building a lie on top of the ashes they left behind. And then, on a cold Saturday morning in December, just days before Christmas, Camille came back. No warning, no phone call. Just a knock on the door of the home she used to own. Layla opened it. Her belly was swollen, her eyes tired, but her mouth, it dropped open like she'd seen a ghost. Standing there was Camille, bald, thinner, but somehow stronger. Not angry, not broken, just finished. Tell Marcus I don't need anything from him, Camille said, but you will. She handed Layla a manila envelope and walked away. Didn't look back. Didn't wait for a reply. Inside the envelope were finalized divorce papers, documentation showing Camille had quietly reclaimed the deed to the house, proof Marcus had used Camille's medical savings to fund Layla's baby shower, buy nursery furniture, even pay for a secret weekend trip to Miami. It was all there. Signed, stamped, legal. Camille hadn't returned to start drama. She came to end the story they tried to write without her. Marcus came home that night to Layla sobbing in the kitchen. The house was no longer theirs. The car keys had been repossessed. The baby's crib was already scheduled for pickup. Camille had paid for it in full, and she was done being generous. Marcus raged, threw a chair, screamed into the walls. But the truth was, it was too late. He had traded a woman who loved him through sickness for a girl who loved the idea of being chosen. And now, there was no one left choosing him. Camille, meanwhile, moved in with her cousin in Charleston. She'd enrolled in a therapy group for survivors of medical trauma, not just physical, but emotional. There she met women who had been abandoned during cancer, cheated on, forgotten, some even abused. It lit a fire in her. One day she stood up during a session and said, "I thought the cancer was the hardest part, but it wasn't. It was realizing the person I fought to stay alive for was the same person who had already replaced me." That quote got shared around Facebook, then Twitter. A few weeks later, she was asked to speak on a podcast, then a panel, and then came the nonprofit, Wounded But Not Weak, a platform for women who'd been broken in body and betrayed in spirit. Camille became a quiet voice for thousands, not a celebrity, not an influencer, but a survivor who knew how to tell the truth, even when it hurt. And Layla? She had the baby, a little girl, but she and Marcus didn't last. Marcus was arrested 6 months later for identity fraud. He had used Camille's social security number to apply for a business loan during her chemo treatments. Layla moved in with her aunt. She posted a long thread on social media once, saying she'd made mistakes, that she didn't know how to be loved the right way, so she accepted the wrong kind. It got shared a few times, then faded, like most apologies do. Years passed. Camille never remarried, never posted a big glow-up story. She lived quietly, softly, with purpose. One summer evening, she sat on the porch of her new home, sipping tea barefoot, bald head glowing in the sunset. A young woman from her nonprofit sat beside her and asked, "How did you not let it turn you bitter?" Camille smiled. "Because bitterness rots the container it lives in," she said, "and I already had too much poison in me. I had to let it out." The girl nodded, teary-eyed. She had just come out of a breakup with a man who left her after her surgery. Camille held her hand and whispered, "You're not alone, and you're not broken. You're rebuilding." And just like that, the woman who once lost everything, her health, her husband, her home, became the very thing they never expected, unshakable. Because sometimes the deepest betrayal becomes the beginning of the boldest version of you. Camille didn't win in court for revenge. She didn't build a nonprofit for attention. She did it because she knew that pain, if left unspoken, becomes shame, and shame keeps you stuck. So she spoke, and healed, and grew, until one day, someone asked her what kept her going through all of it. She looked out at her garden. The sun was setting again. Her hands were dirty from planting, but her soul felt clean. And she said, "Not every battle leaves scars on the body." She says, "Some just leave you wiser and stronger than you ever thought you could be." Hit that like button and subscribe for more disturbing true crime stories.